Hey guys, 2014's over, and this is going to be a year-end review of War Thunder for 2014. So, what I'm going to do is going to start off with a comparison, kind of comparing it to its biggest rival, which is World of Tanks. So, in my opinion, this is 100% my opinion. Comparison to World of Tanks, what does War Thunder do better than World of Tanks? So, at this point, we're talking graphics. Graphics are hands down superior in War Thunder. Like, there's absolutely there's no contest. So, FPS. Somehow the FPS in War Thunder is also superior. It has better general performance, as well as I found it has better ping and better latency. Somehow I'm able to play with Russian players and Asian players and European players all around the world with War Thunder, yet in World of Tanks, roaming is too hard, just like having circles on the mini-map is too hard. So, what else is better? The music's better, the sound effects are better, the particles are better. There's no aim time. You've got vastly superior arty mechanics, which now you just click on a mini-map. There's no camera popping up in the air. They fixed that because that was being used as an exploit. So that is now fixed, so that's fantastic. There's no zoom cheating. There's no invisible tanks. Your tanks are more competitive when they're stock. The free experience in general, pricing seems to be a lot lower, less gougy than World of Tanks. You won't find any $70 WZ111s, for example. Object destruction. You have walls and object breakage and buildings soon to be. When you run into a fence or you run into constructed objects like a wheelbarrow and stuff, they fall apart realistically, they collide with each other, and then when they're done simulating, they will sink into the ground. When you can shoot down trees with machine guns. There's all that kind of stuff that's in there now, and it's really well done. It doesn't hurt the frame rate, and it's fantastic. They've really done a really nice job here. Next, we'll talk about historical battles. Historical battles will work in this game because relevant tanks to history, like the M4 Shermans, the T-34s, the KV-85s, the KV-2s, the Tigers, the Tiger 2s, those sorts of tanks are the stars in War Thunder. In World of Tanks, a lot of those tanks are just terrible. Like, I personally hate the Tiger 1, but I love the Tiger 1 in War Thunder. You also remember what happened when World of Tanks tried to put in historical mode. No one wanted to play the weak tanks. No one wanted to play the lower tier tanks because they weren't fun. What you get in War Thunder is a game that's more comprehensively, the tanks are packed close together. There isn't, I don't get a general feeling like if I run into a tank that I can't kill it in War Thunder. I have killed IS-1 tanks, I've killed Tigers with my Panzer 3M, no problem. You just have to go around it a different way. So, historical battles, I've played a bunch on this in in War Thunder, and I think it could work here, and they've done a better job at making the relevant tanks to history, World War II in particular, work better here. Next, the things that are done better is muzzle flash and tracer fire from tanks. That is a thing that I really, really like about this game, is if people are firing at me, I can generally see where I'm going to see a big bang, I'm going to see a flash, I'm going to see a shell arc in, and then I'm going to explode and die, like in the video there. So I really, really like that about this game. And this is going to be more standalone thoughts just about in general about War Thunder for 2014. Premium vehicles, they seem to be done pretty well in this game. They generate the same, like about a third more money, that kind of stuff, except when you want to get a high-end tank like a Tiger P, it only costs you around 30 or 35 bucks. There's no $55, $60, $65 tanks when you get into the higher-end stuff. Like, there's the range of tanks and the prices they gouge you for in World of Tanks is just too high, in my opinion. Ammo for the premium rounds versus standard rounds in War Thunder makes sense. APCR is more like throwing a lawn dart at a person than throwing a bowling ball at their chest. So you're going to get something that penetrates easier, but it's going to do not as much damage to modules because it's not as big, and it's more like a piercing object, like a dagger versus like a mace. So they've handled that really, really intelligently. You can take as much APCR as you want. You can take as much standard APC ballistic cap as you want, but typically, you know, it's not one is better than the other in a lot of ways. You use them in intelligent ways in War Thunder. In World of Tanks, you'll get people that just spam the APCR rounds because they do as much damage, their pen's better, they shoot, the rounds go farther, like, faster, and they fall off a little bit more at range, but generally there's no reason to fire AP rounds if you don't have to. Like, and they've actually modeled certain tanks like the T-14 to be completely useless against a KV-1 unless you fire premium rounds, which kind of negates the whole credit generation from the certain tanks. And that doesn't seem to happen as much in War Thunder from my perspective and what I've been able to play. So, the physics in War Thunder. The gameplay is a lot slower, and that may not be for everybody, and that's fine. It's a different type of gameplay. But I do enjoy the fact that I can climb stuff like that a tank should be able to climb. When I'm in World of Tanks, it feels like it feels like the physics from like 1995, and you blast around, and you can power slide sometimes in some of the light tanks, and that's sort of fun. But I think the physics in War Thunder are better for the most part. There are problems with some of the light tanks and how they blast around, and they're maybe not realistic, but that's all getting tuned. It's always in flux because they say it's still in beta. But generally, I like the ability to be able to climb things, and you can generally not get too stuck in War Thunder from what I found. I just don't get stuck, and I don't find I roll my tank too much either, except for on stupidly horrible maps like Karelia, and we'll get to the maps that I hate in War Thunder a little bit later. But that's one of them. So, just in general, I find that I like the physics a little bit better in War Thunder for the most part. So, some of the other neat stuff that's happened in War Thunder this year are USA tanks. Finally, we've got Stuarts, we've got Shermans, we've got a whole schwack of new tanks. We've got Pershings, Chaffies, and Bulldogs, and soon to be probably Jacksons and Hellcats, and a number of other tanks. So that is really, really, really cool to see. It's added a lot to the game. It's really cool to have at least 3 different branches of tanks that you can play, and I'm really excited about that. Next, you've got machine guns. You can finally fire big machine guns at people, which is fantastic, especially when you have like one in the turret of the Tiger. It sounds really good. And the 50 cals on all the American tanks are really great. You can sit there, you can mow down like stuff in the town, you can blow the walls down, you can blow the trees down, you can blow down just about anything. And it's really, really cool to see. You can also shoot them at planes. You can do some damage to planes. I've done that. Works really good. And the next thing you can do is when you tank flips, you can tow hook them and flip them over. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. And the implementation's a little bit sketchy and bad at the moment, but at least it's there and it'll get improved, and over time it'll just work. The next thing I really like is they've added a whole schwack of great new city maps. So you've got Poland, and you've got Mozdok is more of an open map, but I like it. It's kind of like a Rolly Hills type map. There is also another one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's got like a river channel with bridges, and it's central, and it's really well done. It feels like a small European town, and all the maps that they've been releasing recently, the most recent ones, have been really quite good. So I've been really impressed with just the maps in general from War Thunder. And they're not all huge. You don't have to drive for 20 minutes on some of them, or a lot of them now, which is great. Next, they've improved the mini-map. The mini-map's improved quite a bit so far. You used to have a lot of problems seeing anything on the mini-map, and you can really see the icons plainly now. You've got an arc that you can see, and it all works generally pretty good. And some of the things I don't like are it's hard. I wish I could just ping the map, say here, bad guys here, that sort of thing. I wish I could do that. It's a little bit nebulous to do certain things, but I mean, that's the way it is for now. Some of the things that really frustrate me and I hate, hands down, more than anything in War Thunder that will just make me just close my eyes and want to just put my head through my monitor, is cannon barrel damage. They need to reduce this drastically or just remove it totally. I don't care if it's not realistic or whatever, I don't care. Like, if you want to play that sort of game, go play Red Orchestra or something, but the amount of cannon barrel damage that I take in this game, especially with my German tanks, is frickin' ridiculous. I don't know how many times I've loaded in the first shot, everyone aims at your turret and your gun, and your gun gets taken out, or it breaks your horizontal turret drive, or it breaks your vertical drive, and then you have to sit there for 20 or 30 seconds, and what do? what are you supposed to do when that happens? You can't shoot, and it basically renders you useless, and you have to sit there for anywhere between 10 to 20 seconds and just die. So I hate that. So dial it back or get rid of it for the cannon barrel damage. I don't care if people don't think it's realistic or not. It doesn't make the game fun, and that's what you're here for. You're here for fun, and in my opinion, it sucks. I hate it. Same with the turret drive stuff. Like, reduce it. Don't get rid of the turret drive braking as much, but maybe just make it so it's really, really slow instead of stopping completely. The bad ramming physics are still in full effect here. You've got a really terrible implementation of ramming in this game still. You get juddering and jittering and flipping and popping, and tanks at collisions intersecting and having bad simulating. That sort of stuff has been cleaned up on the environment for a lot of what's going on. You have a lot less problems with running into rocks and having it destroy your engine and stuff like that. So that sort of stuff's improved. You can generally run into trees and not have it completely destroy your engine and transmission as much, but that's still a bit of a problem. I don't really like that. It could be improved. The arcade stuff that they've added to make it feel like Call of Duty with planes and stuff is stupid. I hate it. I don't like it because basically it just boils down to some douchebag will call in his plane, fly at you, shoot some machine gun stuff at you, drop some dive bombs at you, and then just kamikaze crash his plane into your tank. Like, it adds a lot of whiz-bang explosions and stuff, but it doesn't add anything good to the game. It makes it look stupid, and I just think it should be removed. If they want to have more whiz-bang in there, find something else to add, but what they have there is not the solution, and it really detracts from the game. You're trying to play the game, and you hear, and then some bomber plane decides to kamikaze crash into your plane, and I just really don't think it's implemented very well. The next thing is it needs more maps. There's only probably about 8 to 10, maybe somewhere around in there. I don't actually count them all, but it's kind of like 2 handfuls, and that's about it. So they just need to kind of work on more tank maps in particular. Like, I know it's a dual-pronged game, and there's tanks, and there is a number of airplane-type maps, but they need more. And they also need to remove maps like Crimea. I absolutely cannot stand that map. Like this map right here. This is it. And as you can see, on the eastern side of the map, you get the 2 spawn areas where you spawn immediately, and if you drive around to the right side, you just get into, it's an automatic, just a shit fest. You can't progress down that side of the map. You get 3 or 4 tanks blocking all that side, just camping there. There's a lot of problems with this map, and I hate it, and I wish it would go away. Same with Kursk. It's just a big open field. People will sit on the backside of a hill and not move, and it's not progressive, and it's just not very fun. So those 2 maps can go. I don't like them. I like Ash River, I like Mozdok, I like Poland, I like the other city map they've added, and they can just keep adding more of those types of maps. I think that things will improve dramatically. So next, I think that it's too easy for planes to dive bomb tanks. It seems like they've kind of built the game around making it easy for planes to be able to shoot each other with your mouse, and to make it easy to be able to point it at a tank and drive in there, drop the bombs, and have them go pretty much exactly where you want them for the most part. And it feels like it's more meant to allow crappy plane players to be able to drop bombs on tanks and easily rack up tons of ground attack target kills. And that's a bit disappointing, and I really wish that they'd kind of make it a little bit more challenging for plane players. Next, we need British tanks, we need French tanks. That would be great. The next thing that kind of sucks right now is that it's really hard to see which crew are dead and which ones are injured, and which sort of module damage you have, other than seeing like what is black on the little icon, the little bottom left corner of the screen. It's kind of hard to see what's damaged, what's broken, and a lot of the times I kind of have to like rotate around the tank to see how my track's blown off, because it's hard to tell, and it's not very clear. Same with when you're trying to kill bad guys. Like, it should pop something up in your reticle, or say destroyed, or something a little bit more clear. I think that could be improved, and that goes with for sure in simulator mode. When you're driving around, it's really hard to sometimes tell if you killed something, because the tank will stay on the battlefield, its gun's still pointing at you, and it's like, okay, did I kill it? Unless you're directly staring at the top right corner to see, did you kill it or not, you don't really know. And even then, it's not very clear, and I don't like how it's displayed in the top corner on when you've killed tanks. It's just, I don't like how it doesn't jive with how my brain works and how my eyes work. But that might just be me. Next, I think the simulator camera on the top of the turret of the tank is too far forward. I have a problem when I can't see enough of the turret to see the orientation of where that connects to the tank. I think they need to pull that camera back so you can have a better relation. You can see what's more going on. It's why race cars, you know, it's typically better if you have a race car where you can see the fenders, you can see the orientation of your car. It's the same sort of thing with a tank. I think that could also be improved. So, just in general, I think that War Thunder has improved greatly this year. It's a lot better than it was. There are still a few nagging problems for this or that. It doesn't have an esports scene, and it's not for everybody. It has module damage instead of HP stuff. It's maybe not as fast and as glorious to watch and play for certain people, but if you like a slower-paced game, it's more about, you know, picking where your targets, where you're shooting, what your modules you're trying to break, and that sort of thing, then this might be the game for you. And I honestly think that this game, it's starting to creep into my mind a lot more as a game that I want to play more than I have been. And for a while, it was really getting up there, and then for a couple patches, it kind of took a step back for me. But I've come back to it again, and in patch 1.45, I've been really impressed with how much I've liked playing it, especially in comparison to how much I'm still increasingly frustrated with World of Tanks. So, honestly, for me, hats off to Gaijin. I think they've done a pretty good job this year, and if they can keep improving the game the way they have, I think this is going to be a game that's going to be able to have a pretty good shelf life, especially for just going into the future and everything. So, thanks for watching, and feel free to discuss everything I said in the comments below, and have at it. Thanks for listening.